We all know the story by now, don't we? Keir Starmer's busy lawyer friend who he gave a peerage to and made Attorney General, Lord Hermer. He reckons anyone who wants migrant criminals deported is in the same bracket as a Nazi. Well, every news outlet in Britain today reported that Hermer apologised for the self-described clumsy remark. The statement from Lord Hermer's spokesman read, he rejects the characterisation of his speech by the Conservatives. He acknowledges, though, that his choice of words was clumsy and regrets having used this reference. But I'm sorry, unless I'm being completely dense, I don't see an apology in there. It's just a statement of regret. And when he talks about clumsy, this is a pre-prepared speech he gave to an audience that I suspect took him, I don't know, a couple of hours to write and think about. Did he not think it was a bit mad to talk like that? And as one Labour source said today, as for Hermer, once a mentalist, always a mentalist. But beyond the insanity of comparing people who want to deport foreign paedophiles with Nazis, this whole affair exposes something we've known all along, doesn't it? Labour are so out of touch with normal people in this country that it's all but confirmed now, I think, that they're going to get absolutely destroyed at the next general election. Lord Hermer thinks you're Nazis. Meanwhile, his friend Keir Starmer, the Prime Minister, said in January that the rape gang scandal was a far-right bandwagon.
And when politicians, and I mean politicians, who sat in government for many years, are casual about honesty, decency, truth and the rule of law, calling for inquiries because they want to jump on a bandwagon of the far right.
And it was only on this show last week that former Labour Armed Forces Minister Bill Rammell, my Sunday panellist, I'm sure you're all fans, said this about Adam Brooks.
Quoted the Telegraph or something like that. Are they far right? Is Reform far right, Bill?
Yes.
Oh, you're mad. Right, Bill, am I far right?
Yeah.
Oh, you're absolutely bonkers.
No, I'm not.
Far right.
Yeah, if you look at any classical...
What makes me far right, Bill?
If you look in any classical political terms, the views you espouse, Adam, are far right.
You've just lost any credibility you ever had with the viewers. I'm far right.
And in February, Labour Minister Andrew Gwynne was sacked and suspended from the party when leaked text messages revealed he said he hoped a 72-year-old woman, a constituent, would soon be dead after she wrote to her local councillor about bin collections. And of course, we all remember Emily Thornberry resigning from Labour's front bench in 2014 when she tweeted her absolute contempt for the working class by mocking a St George's flag at the home of a white van man. Yeah, well, a leopard never changes its spots. Labour may have understood the working class in this country many moons ago, but not anymore. In fact, they're a laughingstock. And the funniest thing is, they don't even realise it. And they won't see the electoral bloodbath coming just a few years later either. Let's get the thoughts of my panel now. The former Met Police detective Peter Bleksley, the journalist and broadcaster Linda Jubilee, and the former Labour Special Advisor Paul Richards. Hello, panel. Good evening.
Hello. Good evening.
Welcome along. Hope you're all well.
Very well, thank you.
Paul Richards.
Yeah.
Defend the indefensible.
Well, we just put the national minimum wage up, which is all about working class people
What's that got to do with anything?
Well, you said contempt for the working class. I'm saying we put money in their pockets.
Right.
I think Hermer is absolutely wrong with the language he chose in his speech. By the way, not clumsy. He's a man who obviously earns his living by choosing his words extremely carefully. I've read it word for word. He was talking about a specific jurist in 1930, whatever.
Experts.
You know, in Nazi Germany. But you should never refer to anything, unless it's a history lecture, calling people Nazis or like the Nazis. It's always stupid.
Does he need to resign?
I think he should really be considering his position. He may be a great lawyer, but he's a very bad politician. He has form, and I'm not sure he's an asset to the Labour government right now.
I think that applies to Keir Starmer as well, right? You know, not a very good politician.
Well, but Starmer is elected, and obviously Hermer is not.
He did choose the most controversial legal expert in the 30s, actually, the most controversial one, that everyone knows to avoid, everyone. Now, this speech was at RUSI, the Royal United Services Institute. That's like the great and the good in this country. He must have been aware when he was writing this speech how careful he should have been. I wouldn't call his words clumsy. I'd call them, and this is a strange word for a KC, misjudged. They are misjudged.
And also as a cop-out. That statement he released today via his spokesman was an absolute cop-out. It wasn't an apology.
And what he's doing is apologising because the Conservatives characterisation of the debate. That's like the domestic violence perpetrator who says, you know, well, I must apologise, you know, my wife made me do it.
Well,
no one made him do it.
Yeah, people that say, I'm sorry if you're offended. I mean, it's just a non-apology, isn't it? It's a non-apology apology. Yeah.
Peter Blexley, if you want foreign paedophiles deported back to wherever the hell they came from, you are a Nazi.
According to Hermer, talking to Nazis, last year I went on an incredibly powerful trip to Auschwitz-Birkenau.
First time?
The concentration camps, yeah. And I would recommend it for anybody that hasn't been to go. And for people like Hermer to try and draw this equivalence with the Nazis is beyond contempt. It is utterly revolting. And if he hasn't been, I'll take him and I'll pay for a cheap flight and cheap accommodation, and we'll go there and I'll show him what the Nazis did. I am utterly enraged. He is clearly a vile man. He is not fit to hold high public office, and the sooner we see the back of him, the better.
Why hasn't Keir Starmer sacked him yet?
Because he's spineless, and then because Hermer is his big chum.
And I think what is troubling about this is that you're right, Peter. There is an allegation there of cronyism, if you like, but also there was a lot of criticism about the guidance he gave in the Chagos silence as well. So there are people, even inside the Labour Party, that regard him as a repeat offender. So I think it's not just this episode in isolation, and whether people see him as part of the North London set up there in, I don't know where, Primrose Hill or wherever. It's because it's in a chain of events that have happened so far.
And in his day job, before becoming Attorney General, Hermer has represented so many people that really should not be in this country.
Oh, it's the Hall of Fame, isn't it? Let's have the Hall of Fame, Peter. Who is in there? Shamima Begum, I think Al-Qaeda suspects. He believes, right, Lord Hermer, like Keir Starmer and all their sort of North London international lawyer friends, they believe in the rule of law so much and the international order more so than their love for Great Britain. They believe that even the most despicable people on earth, when they're banged to rights, should have legal representation.
And the rights to family life in the UK, for example, where they should be shackled on a plane and being sent to a land far, far away.
I mean, everyone has the right to legal representation.
Beyond being represented in court.
That is the basis of our legal system. However, the good news is there's a reshuffle coming up. You know, let's see what happens, but I don't imagine he'll still be in that job.
There's a really important point here as well. The question mark hangs over whether a non-elected person should be in this role. Now, this hasn't been given, to my mind, to a non-elected person for nearly 100 years. So he was ennobled by Keir Starmer in order to fulfil this role. But I think part of the problem here is that a politician would understand nuance a lot more. When a politician would go into a RUSI to give, that's their annual keynote lecture, they would pay attention to how this sounds to the wider public.
Paul, last question to you. Labour are finished, aren't they? 10 months in, they've already...
the polling suggests that Starmer is the most popular person to be Prime Minister right now, more than Farage.
YouGov poll?
Yeah, polling.
Well, Zia Youssef tweeted about that and said it's the most moronic poll he's ever said.
Well, because he doesn't agree with it.
Well, no, I think it was the methodology behind it.
The methodology of YouGov is extremely robust. They're a proper polling company and they put Starmer ahead. I mean, you may not like it, but it's true.
All right, well, look, Paul Richards may not have been able to defend Lord Hermer tonight, but Labour's Nature Minister, does that exist? Did her best yesterday afternoon to defend him. Let's take a look.
The Attorney General totally rejects the characterisation of his remarks by the Conservative Party. He has, however, reflected on his remarks and apologised for any offence that he may have unintentionally caused.
Does the UK government share his view?
He's a member of the UK government, so yes, we share his view.
Resign. Spokesman for the Attorney General, Lord Hermer, told GB News an Attorney General gave a speech defending international law which underpins our security, protects against threats from aggressive states like Russia and helps tackle organised immigration crime. He rejects the characterisation of his speech by the Conservatives. He acknowledges, though, that his choice of words was clumsy and regrets having used this reference. And tonight, Number 10 has told GB News that the Prime Minister, Sir Keir Starmer, has confidence in his Attorney General after the Nazi row. That sounds like, I mentioned it last week actually, you know, a football club who's lost 10 on the trot and the board come out and say, he's got our full confidence.
Yeah.
Next game he loses and he's out. Anyway, we'll see what happens with that.